Hello, hello, everybody. We are just a few minutes early tuning in for this week's Learning Live. Sorry, my bangs were getting the best of me tonight, so I got this funky little clip. Super super weird look to my day, but sometimes we gotta be as functional as possible. I'm just gonna wait for Matt in the other room to give me the thumbs up. If you are joining in live, please do jot a hello in the comments. Let me know you have found us. Matt's got 2 thumbs up. That is awesome. Fantastic. I am so glad everybody is able to find us. We are going to do some fun stuff tonight. All right, I am going to okay, now I see where my screen is. I'm still learning all of this good stuff, so I'm going to just hide this a little bit. Yes, you can see my fancy new camera, all that good. Hello, Ellen. Thank you for joining us tonight. Last week, we had a little fun. We were playing with sound effects, so I'm just going to do a test so that Matt can do a sound test for me. Hopefully he can hear my microphone okay, and then just to get us ready to go, let's warm up with, let's try this. Did you guys hear that? And, all right. It's all good, so Matt's gonna do that. I did see some thumbs up. Make sure it's not too loud. I think last time we were too loud, and here he comes in.
Better than last week. Still a titch on the loud side, but not bad.
Okay, that's good. And now I know where to adjust things, so I'm going to adjust that down just a little bit. And you know what? Throughout tonight, we may play with those sound effects.
It didn't scare me this time.
It didn't scare him this time, so that is always good. So who is ready to make an interactive card? Ellen said the volume was perfect, so it didn't scare her. So maybe I will zoom it back up just a little bit for those sound effects. Yes, I can control all of those things. Hopefully everyone is safe in the after the weather that we've had on the weekend here in Ontario. It was a crazy time, but you know what? That's always a good time to be crafting. And if nothing else, I'm hoping that tonight will inspire you. I know I need a really heavy dose of color and fun, and nothing says fun to me like roller coasters. Well, there's a lot of things that says fun to me, but roller coasters is one of those things. So tonight we're going to be playing with a brand new Hero Arts stamp and die set. It is just being released, and in fact, I had hoped that by tonight our shipment would have arrived, but it was a little bit late in shipping because of all of that weather. So it's not quite here yet, but we do have it up on pre-sale. And now I got to remember the name. Wild Ride is the name of it. But without further ado, let me switch over to my desktop camera, and you can really see what I'm talking about. Okay, so here is the darling little stamp set. It is called, as I said, Wild Ride, and we do have it as a stamp and die bundle because it does have some extra interactive dies that I think you guys are going to find super fun. So there's some little people here, even a kitty cat and a dog in the roller coaster cars. We've got some really great inspirational and encouragement type sentiments. You're brave, be brave, you're fearless. We all started somewhere. It's been a wild ride, and I think most of us can agree that 2025 was a bit of a wild ride. I'm looking at comments here. Ellen says, I want to drink what you are drinking because you are looking fab tonight. Well, thank you. Thank you. You have made my day. Had a really fantastic weekend. Matt and I went to Mississauga to see the Scotties Tournament of Hearts. And so it was really, really nice just to get away, even though it was a local getaway, and just have some fun. So, this would actually be fun if we had a stamp for curling rocks, though most of their curling rocks went a lot straighter than that. So we're going to be playing with this stamp set again. Some really cute little critters, some really fabulous sentiments. And then, as I said, the die set does have some interactive dies as well. So this big one here matches the stamp set, I believe. Yep. Actually, it's even a... no, it's because I'm upside down. That's why. Yes, it does match the stamp set. And then we've got these two dies here that are for interactivity. And what do I mean by interactivity? I mean that you can play with it. So Shannon Peltier, who is an amazing, amazing instructor, took us through this particular card here where you've got the little slider guy. He's rolling on his little roller coaster, and it really is just going to give some fun elements and playtime with your cards. We're going to be inspired by this card tonight, though I do have some different ideas to change it up just a little bit and make something fun. In fact, we're going to combine slider dies and a shaped card. What? Yes, we are. So some of the stuff for tonight I have pre-prepped. Other stuff we will build together, and I will show you how to use this interactive die. You can use snap and slides, which unfortunately we are out of stock on right now, but we'll be getting those back in. Or this particular die actually has a circle so that you can make your own little discs for sliding purposes. Now I have purposely cut some large ones, and I'm going to try this small one. I think it should still fit and be okay over this track, but if not, I've got the big ones cut just in case. And you know what, with all the gray skies, I needed a rainbow to create with, so I've pulled out, what's that, six Hero Arts stamp sets or ink pads that we are going to use to create with. So without further ado, let's dive in. The first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead, I cut a bunch of extra of the smaller circle because I used a thinner paper, so I want to double them up just to give it a little extra oomph. I did already cut my roller coaster people, but I think you guys know how to stamp and color and just die cut. Now here is a hint, and I'll come back to this when we get to the people. Mine is a prototype, so I don't have actual packaging yet, but if you have dies that are on a package similar to this that doesn't have an outline, I know one of my biggest challenges is always to know where to put them back, and sometimes the shapes are a little bit tricky to know which one is which before, so once you figure it out, you don't want to have to keep figuring it out over and over again. So what I did on my carrier card, let me pull this out, is I traced the die just with a ballpoint pen, and I wrote beside it what die that is for. So this is for the little dog and cat, which is this little card here. And that way I know to put it back where it belongs when I am done crafting with it. Now I've only just started. Obviously I traced this one but forgot to label it. And I will eventually go and do all of them so I know how to put them back. But I encourage you to try and label where your dies go. And even if you've taken your dies off a carrier sheet and put it on a magnet sheet, maybe use just a piece of copy paper and trace them, and that will stay on your magnet, and label them so you know what shape is which. Some die sets are pretty self-explanatory, but some just aren't. All right, so I have cut 12 little circles here. This is the smaller one. Like I said, I've got the larger ones as backup, but I'm pretty confident that this is going to fit over the opening. Oh, I say that, and now I'm wondering if it's two. And see, now I've even lost one. Okay, I guess we are going with the big one. So now that I tried to be pre-prepped, I'm not as prepped as I would like. Let me stick a few of these together. Maybe we won't use all of the characters, but because I've used a thinner cardstock, I just want to glue these together so that I have double double the thickness, a little bit extra oomph, just for stability. And you know what? I'm going to cheat. I'm going to cheat a little bit. So I'm going to put the double thickness ones on the bottom, and the single thickness ones are going to have our people on it. So that's not going to need it quite as much. So there's one double thickness. There's two double, I should put a little more glue. Trying to go edge to edge if I can. Here is number 2, and give it a good pinch so that everything is kind of smoothing out and smooshing as far to the edges as you can. Let's do one more. And then I'm going to get out my dies and my white scrap paper, and I'm just going to cut 3 more circles for the top. Alright, so I'm using this particular die right here, and just off the camera, this is why white scrap paper is always super handy. Sorry, I know I've got this picture on my die cutting machines all the way over here, so bear with me a second. Let's get these babies cut. This just gives you, it's nice that it's part of the die set, so you don't have to worry about the extra mechanisms. The extra mechanisms certainly make it easy. So I'll put these ones over here, but sometimes we just need to use what we've got. And jiggle, jiggle, jiggle. Hello. So what would that circle be for if it wasn't what I thought it was for? This little guy here, it is actually the center of the sun. So if you wanted to have the rays of the sun and then the center of the sun be a different color, you could always pop that up and do it separately. It was there for a reason. I just thought I could double purpose it. Alrighty. So all 3 of those are now prepped. So we've got 3 for the top. We've got 6 that have now been glued together for the bottom. We've got some extra white paper. All right. So while those are setting, I'm just really letting that glue set and dry. That's why I wanted to do it first. And like I said, we're now going to do a version of this, but we're going to use a rainbow color, and I'm going to show you a different way. So this was a really fun technique where we used this great big stamp that goes right across here, and we would stamp it, then we rotated it, stamped it with a different color in a different direction, rotated it, and then rotated it to get this kind of, I almost call it a chutes and ladders, obviously without the ladders, but that kind of look. We're going to do something a little bit different with that stamp. We are going to build a rainbow. I guess a not so traditional rainbow. And I'm going to get out my stamping platform, my Misty. And I'm planning on doing this as a horizontal shaped card. This is going to be our base. And then I've got the white card that I am using to stamp on. And what I did, because this stamp is so big, now it won't be quite so bad on a horizontal, but when we were doing it this way, it really goes off the edge of your paper. So I have trimmed myself just a piece of copy paper, and I'm going to use repositionable tape. Maybe. All right, we're going to use Best Ever Craft tape. It said I was looking for my green tape runner, but it's gone for a little walk, so I will just use a little bit of yellow Best Ever Craft tape, and I'm going to attach my white cardstock to this copy paper. And you'll understand why when we get going. So, a good place to put it, I'm going to put a little piece right up here. And I just want it attached to the copy paper. I do not want it attached to the MISTI itself. And I'm going to put a little piece down here. So what we're going to do is get this great big curvy stamp. And we're going to lay it out like this. So the first time I stamp it, it's going to be right here towards the top of the card. And then we're going to, instead of having to move the stamp, we're going to move this piece of paper up and up and up to create our rainbow. So let's get it all smoothed down. And again, I'm going to tuck it right back in the bottom. It did move a little bit when I lifted it that first time, but we're okay. Just feel like this is a little bit too long, but now it probably won't stick. Yeah, of course. There we go. Just don't want it to move. Okay, and I'm going to start with red at the top. So here we go. We're going to inky, inky, inky. So what that copy paper does is actually two things. One, it gives us kind of a work surface so that when our stamp goes off the edge, it doesn't get ink on our foam mat or anything else that is underneath it. It also gives us that mechanism that we're going to move so that we don't have to move our stamp. Now it looks like I need to get another coat in there. Oops, wow, really made a mess there. Get that cleaned up. And let's try that again. All right, looking good. So I'm now going to clean my stamp off and get ready for the next color. And yes, red is a very staining color, and I especially find that my hero arts tend to stain my stamps a fair bit. But as long as you know you're diligent in cleaning, you don't have to worry about it transferring to your project. All right, I'm just checking to see if there are any comments. Everything's looking good here. Pretty quiet. While I'm doing this, maybe jot in the comments, do you like roller coasters or dislike roller coasters? And if you like them, what is your favorite roller coaster? I know I have spent a fair amount of time on the Leviathan and Behemoth at Canada's Wonderland, and I also have a very special place in my heart for Space Mountain at Disney. All right, so like I said, I've attached it to this copy paper so that I can move the whole thing up a little bit to make room for the next stamp. Now, I'm not quite sure exactly how high I'm going to have to do it, but I am going to eyeball it, and I am totally okay if this overlaps slightly. So that was about 1/2 inch. And so I've just now put this in place. I've moved up. I'm going on to my orange. And I am going to repeat the process. All right. But I think this is going to be a really fun way to use this stamp set. All right. Let's do one more pass with the orange. Sometimes with a solid stamp, you really do need to stamp it more than once. But look how fun that's starting to look.
Ellen loves roller coasters. Leviathan is her favorite.
So Ellen loves Leviathan and she loves roller coasters. I see Karen says she likes roller coaster stamps, but not necessarily roller coasters. Understood. Oh, Darlene likes the wooden roller coasters. Darlene, you've got me beat there. Those ones I can't quite do myself. I prefer the smooth and easy ones. All right, so now I'm going to go up another 1/2 inch. And this is approximate. But if I then just eyeball it, yep, that's looking pretty good. Let's still stick this magnet at the bottom. I'm going to do my yellow next. Patty pat. Doop. And here's our yellow. So already these bright colors are absolutely making me happy. Okay. And given that we've gone to a horizontal, I'm not sure if we're going to get the remaining 3 colors in, but we're certainly going to try. Let's clean. All right, we're going to move up 1/2 inch. And I think now I can put the magnet at the top. So Roy, G is next. G for green, PCW's favorite color. And it's always a little scary because once this stamp starts to get stained, the colors don't look all that great over here on the stamp. But I have every faith that when I stamp it over here, it's going to look awesome. Look at that. Do a second coat just for some good coverage, especially down that one slide. Bloop. Keep my inks all up there. Okay, up another 1/2 inch to here. Oh, you know what? We just might make it. I need to clean. And into blue is next. Did I move it? Yes, I did move it. Sometimes I forget, especially if I get the steps out of order, so always feel free to double check your work before you commit. That's our blue. And you know what? I know many of you often ask for ideas for masculine cards. Just this ombre look. You could do shades of blue, shades of green, shades of purple. You could absolutely do this same kind of technique without the roller coaster element and just create your own rainbow. All right. Interesting that that blue looks more teal. I wonder if I just maybe didn't get enough of that green off. But you know what? Teal is still a pretty color. All right, one more 1/2 inch and we're on our last stripe. Deborah and Heather do not like roller coasters.
No.
Well, I'm sure there are other fun things that you like at the amusement park. And there is something to be said for keeping your lunch where it belongs. All right. Look at that. Look at that. That's beautiful. One more pass here and then our rainbow is done. All right. What do you think, guys? Just by building that little extra sheet to help us move the stamp really made getting that that rainbow order really easy. All right, pardon me? Karen likes it. Excellent. Thank you, Karen. I will put this away later, but let's get this off. And look how pretty that is. Look at that gorgeous rainbow. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this in here. I will clean it off later. Put it away later. So we're going to do 2 pieces of die cutting to this piece of paper. One is to cut the actual slider track, and the other is to cut our oval shape so that it goes with our shaped card. The green is going to be the back. The yellow with the white on top is going to be the front. So I am using the Stylish Ovals nesting set for these shapes, because you can go down just that little bit of a size and get a nice gradient size look to it. I'm not going to be able to do it because I'm trying to do it fast, but you get the idea there. What was I going to say? Last week I told you stencils were my one true love. If I were on a deserted island, I would only take stencils. If I got to take 2 things, my nesting dies would be number 2. So much you can do with nesting dies. So the green one was the second largest. The yellow one was the third largest. And then I have the 4th largest over here on my little board. And that is what I'm going to use to not run away with my clouds. But that is what I'm going to use to die cut the center part of this out and get it ready for a card. So just coming off camera, let me get this into place. We've got options. Let's see if we can. So this is going to go on like this. So I think that is a good place. Because these are from 2 different companies, I am not going to die cut them at the same time. Dies are generally pretty comparable, but you just don't want to run into any trouble if the thickness of the dies is different, and that way you might not get something cutting properly. If it were the same company, or specifically even the same die set, no problem cutting it together. But when they're different companies, I just don't want to take the risk. Alright, so that piece is done. Put that back. Actually, I'm going to put that back with the set so I do not lose it. Let's get our tape off. Now I've got lots of little bits. And that's what our little piece looks like. So you can, if you like to hoard your scraps, you can keep that. I mean, you could cut some nice little stripes off there, or you don't have to. All right, next step is the roller coaster bit. And I think I'm gonna go that way. So they go up the hill, then down the hill, and back up the next hill. So again, just a little piece of tape to keep it straight. Keep it where I want it to go. All right. Just 'cause I can. There we go. That is our roller coaster hole cut. Do not throw this piece out. We are going to use it. If you notice here on my other sample, we've used it in behind, so it really kind of camouflages that track when it's not being used. All right, I think I'm done die cutting, so I'll put this over here. And I'll put my die away. This one I didn't have a line traced just yet, but I know it fits in that middle section. Okay, so we're going to come over here to our yellow piece, which is the other panel for our front. Now, I'm not going to glue this down, but I'm going to place it down. I'm going to grab one of my little magnets just to hold it in place. What we want to do is we want to take this piece here and glue it down to the yellow piece. So if I grab my tweezers, because now I've got to get it back out, I'm going to grab this. I'm going to just put a little bit of glue on it. With this, you want to be careful, because if you get glue elsewhere, it may affect how your slider works. So there we go. Let's gently tuck it in here. Get it down in place. Remove our magnet and lift that piece up. So now it looks like this. So that when we pop this up and when we put our tracks in place, it's really going to camouflage and make it feel really seamless in look and feel. Now, before I go any further, I want to make sure I stamp my sentiment on here, because once I get it assembled, stamping the sentiment is going to be next to impossible. How about You're Fearless? You're Fearless would be really great for this roller coaster approach. So I know I said I was going to leave this on, but now I need it. So let's get it off. I can come back and clean that afterwards. I don't need this anymore. Let's get our little piece here. I'm going to stick that there and get my stamp. And if we put it right up here, I think that'll be really fun. And by using a nice black ink, that should still show up really nicely on this card. Now, I'm saying this is a card. There is absolutely no reason why you could not use this die or even this whole project as a piece on a layout or a traveler's notebook. Consider it more of an embellishment than a card, or make it into a hidden journal, hidden journaling spot. So just remember that just because I show you cards on Learning Live a lot of the time, it's mostly because that's a fast and easy project. You can take the same ideas, the same concepts, and apply it to your other projects. All right. One last time just to make it nice and crisp. There we go. How fun is that? All right. Clean that off. Let's put this back in just in case. Just trying to read the comments here. Gives you a chance to contemplate your life choices. Oh, it's still about the roller coaster? Okay. Contemplating your life choices is never a bad thing. Especially when then the whole world drops out from under you. Okay, so now we got to assemble. This is where we're going to use foam tape. And we need our little guys here. And the foam I like for my actual slider bits are the Sticky Thumbs. The Sticky Thumbs foam circles. I know I had them here. That's what the packaging looks like. And the reason why I like these is that they are a little bit taller than the squares. I believe these are 3 millimeters in height versus 2 millimeters in height. Millimeter does not sound like a huge difference, but in crafting it is. And what I like about these versus squares is that they are round. So they're going to slide through that track just a little bit more easily. With these tracks, we want to go with the smallest one, because I think even if we go up to the next one, it'll be too big and it won't slide nicely. So make sure you stick to those smaller ones. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my powder tool and I'm just going to dust over here just to make sure that if I did get any glue anywhere I didn't want it, it's gonna slide. And I can do my edges here too. It just helps with the slide factor on your mechanism. All right, easy peasy. Okay, so I'm going to take one of my 2-layer circles and I am going to put one of these small circles right in the center. Do not peel the top just yet. So that's going to go like that. I'm going to repeat for the second one. And get it as close to the center as you can, though perfection is not mandatory. All right, number 3. So let me show you the concept of what we're doing, and we will come back to it and finish in a few steps. So we've got the ones here with the foam square on it, or foam dot on it. That's going to be what drives through the track. But we need to make a donut, so eventually this second one is going to go on top. And so that way they can slide like an Oreo sandwich cookie around and around on our tracks. And then on this top piece is where we are going to put our little characters. So my plan is to have the boy in one, I've got the dog and cat in another, and I've got the girl as well. So we'll do all of that, but before we do that, we also have to get this guy tucked on, or stuck on, and that's where our foam tape is going to come into play. We're going to use a fair bit, so absolutely you can use foam squares. You could use the larger foam dots here, but it's going to take a while. So the tape is just a little bit better. I also do recommend for attaching this, we're going to do 2 layers. So the things we want to make sure is we want to have foam tape in these little mountain areas to make sure that we give them stability. But we also have to make sure that we stay clear of where these little circles are. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put a circle down. I'm going to cut some pieces of foam tape, and we're going to use that as a guide. I've got a great big strip here, but if I'm down here at the bottom, I want to stay clear. That was actually probably a bigger piece than what I needed, but it works. And as long as it's clear of my little circle, I'm good. I'm going to do another piece here so that when it comes up, it's clear. And let's do another piece. It might be too big. Another piece here. Again, test to make sure you're clear. And then you can go in and fill in some of these other areas. This is 1 layer. So I'm going to come off to the side. This little guy can go over here. Looks like I need a piece here, and I think I'm going to put a little piece over here. So let's go this corner. I'm pretty confident that's going to stay clear of everything. And put a little piece over here. So now we know we're clear. Oh, and maybe I should put... Okay. This is now our roadmap. We're going to peel all these backings and put a second layer on. The first time you do this, you may want to start with only 1 spinner. I think I'm being a little bit overzealous by doing 2 or doing 3. But you know, go big or go home.
Alan is enabling Kim.
Excellent. I love it when you guys enable each other. Don't know if you guys heard that in background. It sounds like there's some enabling going on in the chat. And then don't forget that there is our, in our Paper Crafts Inner Circle group, we also have our alphabet soup challenge going on right now. So if you need some encouragement, or just a challenge to kind of keep you focused and on track, the alphabet soup is such that every month we're going to assign 2 letters of the alphabet. For January, it is A and B. And you need to create something using those letters. So A could be using all and create. B could be using buttons. Just different ways to get you crafting and thinking about how you're approaching your crafting. So that's in our Paper Crafts Inner Circle. Oh, and if you really love Hero Arts, we still have, I think, 3 Stamp-Along kits available. Stamp-Along is a Hero Arts virtual event where there will be, I believe it's 6 classes. Shannon, who I spoke of earlier, who taught me how to make that first roller coaster card, she is the lead instructor, but Jennifer McGuire is also teaching, Dana Joy, and of course I'm not going to remember all the other instructors, but the information is on our website. So if you love Hero Arts and you want a great technique type class, that is a great class to take. I'm kind of hoping that there is a kit left over so that I can do it as well, but I will happily speak to my contacts and get me signed up as well if you guys take all the kits. Okay, let's make sure we're doing this the right way up. So this is the trickiest part, getting everything lined up. So I'm going to take my 3 circles and put them on the track. I'm going to peel all of these backings off. So I've got 2 layers of foam now in all of those areas. There's 2 layers of this foam, but only 1 layer of the dot, and that's totally okay. It's actually on purpose so that everything will flow smoothly. Please bear with me if my head gets here on the main camera. I really need to be over top here so I can get this all lined up. Okay, pretty close. Pretty close. And now I can just grab my tweezers, adjust these into position, and let's take the backings off these guys and put one of our large circles. This is just a single layer that's gonna go on there. Bloop. Come on, there it is. One here. And my last one. Goes on here. All right, here's the test. Yep, look at the ball move. So now I just have to put my people on here. My people, my dogs, my cats. And you could add them on a foam square if you wanted even more direction or dimension. Maybe I will do that. So this one I'm going to go back to foam squares, and it's probably easier to put it on here, right in the center. So on my prototype one, on the one I did in class, I did it where the roller coaster car is the main part on the circle, but he gets really topsy-turvy because his top half is a little bit heavier. So if that's something that bothers you, then go ahead and target a little bit lower down. Maybe get his body a little bit more on there. Let's do kitty, cat, and dog next. And you'll notice that those circles in the background really just kind of fade. Yes, you can see them if you look really closely, but the card is so fun that you don't need to worry about those circles actually showing. All right, look at that. It is so fun, so colorful, and so cheerful. I love it. So now there's one last thing that we have to do, and that is put it on our card back. I mean, by all means, you could just send this as the card and write on the back. You could just treat it more like a postcard, but we're going to actually put a backing on it. Kim says, for the alphabet challenge, is it the product used for the letter, or can it be something in a photo? It can be absolutely anything. So if you have pictures of avocados, that's just because that's the first A that I thought of, and you want to use that as a focal point. It really, the letter has to be the hero of your project. So whether it is alabaster as a color or avocado as your stamped image or a photo, by all means, you can use what you want. All right, so the last thing we're going to do is our card base. And what I'm going to do, because it's a horizontal card, I always like when I do shaped cards to have the back be the part that folds so that your front stays intact. So I'm going to tuck this in here right along that straight edge as much as possible. Looks like this is 4 inches. So let's do a 1/2 inch. No, I'm going to go a little bit bolder. I'm going to do a 3/4 inch score line. So all the way over here to 3 1/4. So we'll, yep, that looks pretty good. It looked a little crooked to me at first, but I think it's just the way my eyes are. So I've got my score line there at the top of my card. And then let's give it a practice fold. And then we glue.
Well, all Ellen says is
wee. And I have to remember, and I almost didn't remember, is that there will be a bit of a border since this one is bigger than the yellow. But that's just going to nest there like that. We do have to let it sit and dry. But the idea being that your card is now going to open from the back. So let's just let that sit for a minute. So there you have it. I've shown you how to make a rainbow. I've shown you how to make a roller coaster. I've shown you how to make a slider card on a shaped card. Hopefully that is lots of inspiration on this snowy day, that as you are crafting the rest of this week, this weekend, or, you know, until the sun actually starts to shine, this will bring some cheer to your day. Yeah, so that's just gonna, and then this way it can stand as well.
You're just making your own toy.
You know what? This was really fun to make, and I think whomever we give this to, whether it's a birthday card or an encouragement card or what have you, they're going to have hours of fun playing with it. And I know I've given interactive cards in the past, and I'm just going to switch to this screen here. I've given interactive cards in the past, and just seeing people play with it, seeing people try to figure out how you did it, all of those things really just make my heart happy and make the work that goes into this. You know, not only do we love doing it, but there's a lot of steps, so it really makes it worthwhile to see the smile on someone else's face. So I think, do I have all my... Oh, there we go. Thanks for joining us. Playing with all these little gadgets. So that's it for this week's Learning Live. Make sure you tune in the rest of the week for our other lives, and we look forward to seeing you next week. If you guys have ideas of what you'd like me to show in Learning Live, please don't hesitate to email us, and I'm going to put that up on the next slide. And if you make something, please do post it in the Papercrafts Inner Circle, whether it's for the challenge or whether it is just to share with us what you made. We absolutely, absolutely love seeing what you make. Deborah says, thank you, awesome card. Kim says she saves them for the letter, she's going to save them for the letter G. G for guacamole. Oh, there you go. That's a good one for avocado.
Yeah, they're talking about avocados now.
Yeah, well, sometimes when you're put on the spot and you need to think of an A, that is not always easy. All right, folks, thank you so much for joining this week. We look forward to crafting with you more as the winter rolls on, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Gotta find the screen. There it is. Good night, everyone.